So Nikki Haley has been packaged and pitched as the moderate alternative to Trump on the right. And look, I think the thing that drives me crazy is that there is no moderate alternative to Trump on the right in this presidential race. Now, obviously, almost everybody dropped out at this point. It's only Nikki Haley and Donald Trump remaining. But even somebody like Chris Christie, who was very aggressively anti-Trump, and I give him credit for that. That's good. Pointing out all the problems with him, how he's a criminal and he's an authoritarian and he should never have a position of power. That's all fine and dandy, and he's right to bring that up. But the problem is, in terms of how even a Chris Christie would govern, it's over 95% the same policies as Trump. And I'm not only against Trump because of the authoritarianism, even though I am against him for that. I'm also against him for the deregulation of business, the tax cuts for the wealthy, the tax cuts for corporations, the increased drone bombing campaign in the Middle East, the attempt to coup Venezuela, and virtually his entire policy platform, his agenda. And so you get the same thing from Chris Christie. You get the same thing from Asa Hutchinson or Doug Burgum or Tim Scott or Vivek Ramaswamy or Nikki Haley. Like, this is what you're going to get. And so there is no alternative, moderate alternative to Trump from within the Republican Party. Okay. Having said all that, now it's just Nikki Haley and Donald Trump. It looks like Trump is going to cakewalk, to victory here. And that hasn't stopped the media from trying to get Haley over the edge. I mean, she went on SNL recently to try to appeal to like the more liberal audience, which, by the way, you're running in a Republican primary, so I'm not sure that's a good strategy to begin with. I mean, it kind of worked in New Hampshire. She got like all the independents to come to her side, but she still ended up losing, right? So I'm not sure about that strategy, but More Perfect Union did a great breakdown here as to why she's not a moderate alternative, and you need to know that. Is she better than Trump in the sense that if she lost, she wouldn't try to literally steal the election? Yes. I think every Republican is better than Trump in that respect. But outside of that, they are identical. So here's More Perfect Union's video on just how terrible and not moderate Nikki Haley is. They're going to go through her record when it comes to working people and unions.
We traced Haley's anti-union record all the way back to her time as a South Carolina state representative. In 2009, State Rep Haley co-sponsored a resolution that would amend the state constitution to ban card checks, a simple process that makes it easy for workers to join unions. Through card checks, employers are required to recognize a union if over 50% of the members sign cards saying that they want one. The anti-card check measure was ratified in 2010, the same year Haley won her race for governor.
And let's show every state in the country what a good state looks like. God bless you. Thank you very much.
As governor, Haley was committed to making South Carolina the most anti-union state in the country. The first item on her agenda, stopping workers at Boeing, which was building a plant outside of Charleston, from forming a union.
I have made it very clear. Unions are not needed, wanted, or welcome in the state of South Carolina.
One of her first appointments was a union-busting lawyer to lead South Carolina's Department of Labor, Licensing, and Regulation. Haley announced, and I quote, "I think we're going to have a union fight as we go forward with Boeing. We're going to fight the unions, and I needed a partner to help me do it." Haley and her administration immediately mobilized against the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, or IAM, the union representing Boeing workers.
There's a reason South Carolina is the new IT state, and it's because we're a union buster, and it's because we continue to be fiscally responsible and business friendly.
Over the next few years, Governor Haley worked tirelessly to defeat the union effort at South Carolina's Boeing plant, all while Boeing's profits soared. She recorded ads urging Boeing workers to reject the union.
Hi, I'm Governor Nikki Haley. The IAM is back, and they want to take away a piece of your success. Please don't let them.
Tell your friends at Boeing to learn the facts and don't sign that card.
She sued the National Labor Relations Board over their efforts to protect Boeing workers' right to unionize.
What the president needs to do is ask the NLRB to step down.
And she made the effort to oppose the union a centerpiece of her political pitch.
The truth is, the IAM cares about one thing and one thing only: its own power. But we've beaten back the IAM before.
Haley and Boeing were ultimately successful in defeating the union drive. And a few years later, Boeing would reward Haley for her work with a seat on their board of directors after she left the Trump administration in 2019.
That's incredible. So she went to bat for Boeing, blocked their union drive, viciously anti-worker, and then she was rewarded for it after. Let me give you a board seat. Let me throw, a few million your way for hooking us up with that. God, this is how dirty politics is. And I think what's most shocking about the way Nikki Haley talked about this, see, in today's day and age, Republicans at least try to virtue signal and pretend. Like, who, us, bro? We love working people. We're the party of working people now, bro. I don't even know what you're talking about. Totally, bro. But you hear the way Nikki Haley talks here. We're against the unions. The unions are bad. We need to defeat them. Like, there wasn't even the attempt to pretend that they actually give a shit about middle-class workers.
Haley's anti-worker agenda went far beyond Boeing. As governor, she pushed for some of the toughest and most anti-union laws in the country. In 2011, she supported a measure introduced in the House that would excuse businesses from a proposed federal rule that they inform employees of their right to unionize. In 2012, Haley made it so striking union members couldn't receive unemployment benefits by law.
And by executive order, I will make it clear that our state will not subsidize striking workers by paying them unemployment benefits.
She signed a bill that prohibited government agencies from requiring contractors to sign project labor agreements with unions. And she led the fight to defend and expand right-to-work laws that made it harder for working people to form unions and collectively bargain.
We are a strong right-to-work state. Not only that, we were named the third best state to do business in. That's because we don't have unions in South Carolina.
That's Nikki Haley flat out bragging about her state's low unionization rate. There's more.
In 2013, we had the third lowest percentage of union workers in America, with just 3.7% of South Carolina workers choosing to join a union.
Speaking to a group of auto industry executives in 2015, Haley said, "We discourage any companies that have unions from wanting to come to South Carolina because we don't want to taint the water."
But I was a union buster. I didn't want to bring in companies that were unionized.
Flash forward to 2023's historic
She's bragging. Yeah, I'm a union buster, of course. Wow, that's amazing.
auto worker strike. Haley is still peddling the same anti-worker message.
When you have a president that's constantly saying, go union, this is what you get. The unions get emboldened, and then they start asking for things that, that companies have a tough time doing.
She makes auto workers sound like gremlins that were fed after midnight. It's hard to understand exactly why Nikki Haley is so fiercely opposed to investing in better working conditions and higher wages for her constituents. Sounds like a perfect platform for office, unless you're completely dependent on the support of CEOs and billionaires that want nothing more than to maximize profits, often at the workers' expense. As governor, Nikki Haley sided with corporations over regular South Carolinians in other ways, too. She pushed for the state to assemble a $900 million corporate welfare package to attract Boeing to South Carolina in the first place.
Oh, that's incredible. So when it comes to working people, hey, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. The government should not be there to give you money. Don't be a welfare queen. All that nonsense. When it comes to multi-billion-dollar corporations, here, take $900 million. Let me subsidize you. Let me throw taxpayer money at you. So, in other words, socialism for the rich, rugged capitalism for the poor and the working class. God damn it, man. They're all so predictable and terrible.
In her first 4 years in office, Haley increased public subsidies to corporations by an estimated 800%.
Spare me your... bro, I'm against big government, bro. I'm against big government. I don't know what you're talking about. You're against big government unless it's throwing tax money at giant, already wealthy corporations or war. We'll get to that in a minute.
South Carolina newspaper The State estimated that her administration's tax cuts for just 4 companies, BMW, Boeing, Bridgestone, and Michelin, added up to a whopping $800 million. Money that could have been used to improve public services like roads, healthcare, or I don't know, maybe schools. When Haley left office, South Carolina had the lowest unionization rate in the entire country at just 1.6%. Not coincidentally, the state ranked in the bottom half nationally on median household income, income inequality, healthcare, and education.
Shocking. Truly shocking. Oh, the anti-union state actually sucks on a number of other different measures. Unreal. Of course it's predictable. Guys, it's not a debate. It's not a question. We know unions make it so workers are treated better. More money, more vacation time, better benefits. It's not like we don't know the impact of unions. We know the impact of unions. Nikki Haley is against better conditions, more money, more vacation time, better benefits for workers. She's just against it.
Gentlemen, I'm pleased to report that the state of our state is strong, and we're just getting started.
When Nikki Haley ran for governor, she did so with the backing of a super PAC that collected donations from financial companies like Bain Capital and Goldman Sachs. A couple of years later, they were joined by David Koch and Koch Industries. From Bank of America to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and from AT&T to Coca-Cola to groups like the South Carolina Bankers Association, corporate money has powered Nikki Haley's rise to the top of the Republican Party. And Haley always knew the best way to say thank you. Nikki Haley's pro-corporate, anti-worker agenda is clearly working for her in this presidential race. Her donor roster is a who's who of American economic elites, with ties to massive oil, finance, and tech companies. Her Republican rivals are feeling the heat.
There were knives out for Nikki Haley. Yeah. Everyone was sort of coordinated in their attacks against her.
And that's really been picking up. And they see her as the threat right now, and so that is why she has the target on her back.
Her opponents aren't the only people who should see Nikki Haley as a threat. Working people across America should too.
Yeah, so moderate my ass cheeks. Not even close to moderate. And this was a phenomenal video, but I'll take it a step further here. The second you look at her record on foreign policy, it is terrifying. It's terrifying. She has never met a war she didn't love. Loved the Iraq War, love the Afghanistan war, is begging and pleading and trying to push Biden and all these politicians to get us into a war in Iran. Has wanted a war in Iran forever. She is John Bolton in a dress. That's what she is. And so, yeah, it drives me crazy when everybody says she's moderate. The one thing I will give her is that if she loses, she'll go away. Right? If she were to become the Republican nominee for president and then she loses to the Democrat, I have no doubt she'd go away. That's the one area where she's better than Trump. In every other way, she's the same goddamn thing. So moderate is not the term to use. When you talk about elected Republicans, there's far right and very far right. That's what we're dealing with. And everybody needs to get those terms correctly. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.